Hi, folks. Today I'm going to tell you a wild and crazy story that is almost too hard to believe, but it is true. In the late 80s, imagine you had made a 12-inch record with some of your friends and produced it in your home studio and pressed some records, and they played in the clubs where you lived. I was in Germany at the time. And imagine that was kind of a local hit. It even got on some newspaper charts, and it was a cool thing, and it was a great story to tell your kids and your friends and over the years. And that was pretty much it. That'd be pretty cool, right? You had a record out in Germany, and end of story. Well, imagine then, a few months later, a real record label picked up that release and distributed it around the world. And now you were being played in clubs in various places around the world. And in one of the conversations I had with that label, we never ended up coming to terms on any subsequent releases, any other releases. But they did tell me one time, hey, your music is selling well in South America. Maybe you should go down there and do some shows. I didn't even know what that meant, because at the time it wasn't like people went out and DJ'd or sang over backing tracks. And I had produced everything in the studio, so I really didn't have a live show, and I really didn't even know what that meant. And that was the only one conversation I had. But again, a cool story to tell. Hey, I had some success in South America with my song. So another cool story. Well, over the years, I kept releasing music and placed some songs. I had a song licensed by Armani Exchange, a vocal trance song. I had a lot of success with mp3.com with another project called Neurotron 606. I released more records on that ZYX label, European flavored hip hop, in the late 90s. So I had, done some music, and then I got into audio gear and had a whole new career marketing and selling audio equipment. Well, in one of my bios on social media, I had listed Profits on TV, and then I had a song released that did some stuff in South America or whatever. And I started to get messages. I guess I got indexed in some Google searches, and I started to get messages from DJs asking me, specifically in Argentina, but actually in Spain and different places in the world, if there was any more Profits on TV. They really liked the stuff. Some people had scoured the internet and found a few other songs that I had released partially over the years for that project, and they really wanted more stuff. And I thought, well, another cool story to tell, right? There's people still looking for this music after all these years. Well, it just kept building. I kept getting increasingly more messages from these DJs, specifically Argentina. It seemed to be where the song had the most success, to the point where the song was getting played on 80s, 90s broadcast radio stations in Buenos Aires. And by last year, it had reached such a point that I had talked to so many different DJs and gotten the story so many different times, and hearing about the song played at weddings and all over the place, and by all these mobile DJs that had collected these records, and the records were selling. These records were selling online for anywhere from $100 to $200 because they were in limited supply. We had a couple boxes of these, so you can buy this record now at Bandcamp. I have them posted for $40. I have a limited stash of them, but you can get those records, and I'll put the link in the description. If you're interested in having one of these Profits on TV records, I sell one or two a month still. But that was pretty much, the story that I had to tell. And then at the end of last year, I started making the music again. And then I re-recorded much better, which I'm still working on and plan to release later this year, re-release. In the scope of that, during that time of re-recording, I reached out to ZYX and I asked them, do you happen to have that master tape? Now, the master tape was a digital PCM encoded tape on a VHS tape. Very, rare. It was popular for a short period of time before DAT machines took off, if you know what those are, even. And they looked for it, and they looked for it for several weeks or months. And then I got a message yesterday that they didn't find the tape, but that they had backup files from the tape, digital files of these records. Now, these had only ever been played online, and all those YouTube posts by different people who had ripped them from the records and posted them themselves. You've only ever heard these songs with the vinyl popping. Well, I now have the files, and I'm going to play for you some tracks. I'm working on these now to remaster them. First of all, the Don't Bring Me Down track. Here is a clip of Don't Bring Me Down without the record popping noises.
Ja, it's just tuxedo.
I've been places, I've been everywhere my body wants to go. I've been wilted by the heat, I've seen everything my body needs to know. Don't bring me down. Don't bring me. Don't bring me down. Down.
So that was Don't Bring Me Down. Now there was another song called Freeway Zone. Again, this one's never before been heard in anything but vinyl. Don't Bring Me Down was released on a compilation, wasn't mastered as well as this version is now, but these other songs have never been heard other than whoever archived them, and when I first recorded them, and I guess the guy who made the vinyl master, and then they were just parked in a closet. So these have never been heard. This is Freeway Zone, all digital master. Okay, the analog studio, but recorded to the digital medium without the record pops and clicks.
Look at the everyday, give and take. When one has been created, another soul. The lies and deceiving ways, a door's been slammed from the glamorous days we know. You've got to go, and everything could be so slow.
So I kind of made that door closing sound. I had forgotten there was an actual door closing. So the digital really does bring out quite a lot of the details of that original recording. And then Much Better, like I said, Much Better has been played countless times online, probably 100,000 times if you add up all the posts. Loads of DJs, lots of stories. This recording has never been heard digitally, and here it is, pretty much remastered. I'm still tweaking a little bits of it, but here is Much Better, all digital, the original master. over 2 minutes of that original, the remastered digital recording of Much Better. So it's been quite 24 hours, man, since I first found out those files actually existed. And I'm going to be able to rework them and put them out. The contract is long since expired with the original label. So, yeah, these are going to be re-released, even in some cases re-recorded and reworked. So both versions will go out. Hope you enjoyed this little Marcel James history lesson. It's been fun, and it just keeps getting more interesting. So stay tuned and subscribe if you want to find out more. And send me your music to master. I'd love to master your stuff too. Later.